So why do smart people keep making the same money mistakes over and over, even when they know better? It's not because they're not smart enough. It's not because they lack willpower. It's because money isn't really a math problem. It's a psychology problem dressed up as one. By the end of this video, you'll recognize these patterns running quietly in the background every time you spend, save, or invest. Hey, I'm Larry, a semi-retired electrician who's figured out simple money systems that actually work. And stick around until the end. I've got a free gift that'll help you spot these patterns in your own life. I've spent 30 years wiring houses, and here's something my trade taught me. You can't fix a problem you can't see. And money works exactly the same way. Today we're looking at 5 hidden patterns, the invisible wiring behind almost every money decision you'll ever make. Here's a question for you. Why does a $1,750 sofa feel like a real expense, but a subscription that quietly costs $80 a month barely registers, even though over 2 years it adds up to more than the sofa itself? Because it's not really about the size of the number. It's really about where your brain set its very first reference point. Let's call it an anchor. It's your first paycheck, the prices you remember from childhood, the way money got talked about, or wasn't, around your own dinner table. All of it quietly became your personal definition of normal, and your brain has been measuring every dollar against that anchor ever since. This is why a raise never quite feels like enough, and why a bill that used to feel enormous eventually feels routine. The anchor didn't move, you just built your life around it. You've probably done this without noticing, thinking one price seems reasonable and another outrageous, based on nothing more than whatever you happen to see first. Here's a harder question. If your paycheck landed in your account with no memory attached to it, no past salary to compare it to, would you still spend it the same way? For most people, the honest answer is no. And that's worth sitting with for a second, because it means a good chunk of your spending isn't really a decision. It's an echo. And the scary part isn't that your brain has an anchor, it's that you probably didn't choose it. Now let's talk about a different kind of pull. One that has nothing to do with what feels normal and everything to do with what feels immediate. Your brain treats future you like a stranger, an almost fictional person you're vaguely responsible for but don't actually know very well. And that's why saving for retirement can feel abstract. It's why a new phone today feels like an easy yes, and the same money set aside for retirement feels like handing cash to someone you've never met. And this isn't a willpower problem, it's a wiring problem. Brain scans show that when people picture their future selves, the activity looks more like they're thinking about a stranger than about themselves. And once you know that, a lot of bad financial decisions stop looking like carelessness. They start looking like exactly what you'd expect when someone is asked to sacrifice for a stranger they've never met. And the fix isn't gritting your teeth harder. It's making the future you feel less like a stranger and more like someone you actually know. Someone whose life you're building on purpose, not by accident. You've probably felt this tension every time a long-term goal lost to a short-term want. And that's not a character flaw. Maybe the future you doesn't need more discipline. Maybe the future you just needs an introduction. Now here's a strange piece of math your brain refuses to do fairly. Losing $100 hurts roughly twice as much as finding $100 feels good. It's the same number, but they carry wildly different weight. And this is why people hold on to a falling investment far longer than they should. Not because they think it'll bounce back, but because selling makes the loss official, and official losses hurt more than silent ones. It's also why people avoid conversations about money altogether. Checking the number feels like it might confirm a loss. Not checking feels safer, even when it isn't. And the irony is that this instinct, which evolved to protect you, ends up costing you. Avoiding the number doesn't make the number better, it just delays the moment you find out. You've probably done this, put off opening a statement or held on to something purely because selling it would make a loss feel real. That's not carelessness. That's just loss aversion doing exactly what it evolved to do. Your brain isn't protecting your money, it's protecting your feelings. Now let's talk about something almost everyone does without realizing it: mental accounting. Treating money differently depending on which imaginary bucket it landed in. A bonus feels like extra money, so it gets spent loosely. A paycheck feels like real money, so it gets budgeted carefully. But a dollar doesn't know which bucket it came from. It spends exactly the same either way. But your brain absolutely does. This is why a tax refund turns into a spontaneous purchase, while the equivalent amount saved slowly from a paycheck would never have been spent that easily. Same amount, but completely different treatment. Your brain isn't tracking your net worth. It's tracking a set of mental folders, and each folder has its own rules. A raise gets folded into regular income and budgeted like everything else. A gift card feels like it isn't really your money at all, so it gets spent without a second thought, even though once it's in your hand, it absolutely is. You've probably done this, treated found money as disposable, even while being careful with money you worked for. Once you see the folders for what they are, you can start applying the same standard to all of them.
And the last pattern, well, it might be the sneakiest one, because it doesn't feel like a money decision at all. It feels like identity. Your spending quietly adjusts to the people around you, the neighborhood, the group chat, the version of normal you're surrounded by. And it rarely calibrates downward. The target keeps quietly moving up. And underneath that is something even more personal. People spend to protect a story they tell about themselves. I'm not the kind of person who drives an old car. I'm not the kind of person who says no to that trip, even when it conflicts with what they actually want long term. That's why two people with the exact same income can make completely different financial decisions. They're not buying the same product, they're protecting different identities. And this one is powerful because it doesn't feel like comparison. It feels like just being yourself. You've probably upgraded something not because you needed it, but because staying where you were started to feel like it said something about you. And that's not vanity. That's a very old, very human wiring, just showing up in a modern bank account. And that's the real pattern behind the psychology of money. Not a flaw, just wiring most people never get shown. None of it means you're broken. It means you were never actually taught to see the wiring in the first place. And here's the one move that actually works. The next time you're about to spend, save, or sell, pause for 1 second and ask yourself, which pattern is this? That single second of naming it is the skill. You're not trying to shut the wiring off. You're just catching it before it spends your money for you. That's the real shift. Recognition compounds the same way money does. Small at first, barely noticeable. And then one day, it's the reason you make a different choice without even having to think hard about it. If this video helped you see your own patterns more clearly, hit like and subscribe. I break down real financial concepts like this every week. And drop a comment. Which one hit closest to home? I actually read every one. And check the description. I've created a free money mindset reset guide to help you recognize the patterns behind your money decisions. No strings attached. And if you're ready to start investing in your future, watch this video next. And remember, if this electrician can do it, so can you.